The number of Palestinians and Israelis killed during 2 days of intense fighting continues to climb. Up to 700 Israelis are now feared dead in one of the darkest days in the country's history. Among them, 250 were reportedly killed at an Israeli music festival that came under attack. The Israelis are retaliating with airstrikes across Gaza. More than 400 people have been killed, thousands injured.
And more than 1,000 people have now been confirmed dead in Israel and Gaza after a massive assault by Hamas militants.
Israel's Search and Rescue Agency says more than 260 bodies have been recovered from the site of a music festival.
And strikes have continued from both sides overnight. Israeli defense forces say they have been targeting Hamas's key infrastructure, and rockets have been fired from Gaza.
More than 1,000 people have now been killed in Israel and Gaza after a massive attack by Hamas militants that began at dawn on Saturday.
There are reports that Israel has struck more than 500 Hamas targets in Gaza overnight, where 123,000 Palestinians are displaced.
President Biden has ordered extra military assistance for the Israelis, promising them rock-solid and unwavering support. Our defence correspondent Jonathan Beale has this report.
Israeli troops are still hunting down armed Palestinians. More than 30 hours after their biggest and bloodiest breakout from Gaza into Israel itself. One of the world's most advanced militaries, taken by surprise by Hamas, a militant group kept behind barriers that were supposed to stop this happening. Their attack as brutal as it was brazen. Hundreds killed. For Israel, that's included scores of unarmed civilians as well as soldiers. Already the largest loss of life in decades. Hamas has taken dozens of hostages too, like this 85-year-old grandmother, Yafa Adar, whisked away by militants in a golf cart. Families too, among them Yoni's wife and their 5- and 2-year-old daughters. He's left anxiously waiting for news and pleading for their safe return.
I want to ask of Hamas, don't hurt them. Don't hurt little children, don't hurt women. If you want me instead, I'm willing to come.
Israel's Prime Minister has warned his nation of a long and difficult war ahead.
Pictures shared on social media showed some festival goers trying to flee the site as Hamas militants attacked on Saturday.
Footage here shows an Israeli woman identified as Noah Agamani and her boyfriend being abducted by a group of men. They are still missing.
Israel's response has been swift and harsh, despite the massive intelligence failure. Its missiles filmed by our BBC team in Gaza. Jets have been hitting what they say are Hamas positions, but many civilians have also been killed in this densely populated Palestinian enclave, blockaded and nowhere else to flee. There's also the risk of escalation. Hezbollah has been firing rockets into Israel from neighbouring Lebanon. They say a show of solidarity with Palestinians. This region has long been a tinderbox. And once again, the flames are being fanned. Jonathan Beale, BBC News, Southern Israel.
Let's have a look at this morning's papers, shall we? We're going to start with the Mail. And the crisis in Israel and Gaza dominating all of the front pages. This paper focusing on some of the 100 hostages taken by Hamas militants.
The Times this morning is focusing on Israel gathering tanks on the border with Gaza, saying the country is going to war.
Metro has powerful images from both sides in the conflicts between Israel and Gaza and sums up the ferocity of the fighting with one word: merciless. Now, the Financial Times puts aside all money matters with their front page this morning, and Israel at war after deadly Hamas attack. And the Times too says Israel has been stunned into going to war with Gaza. While the Guardian has images of destruction from Tel Aviv and reports on the rising levels of deaths and violence. The Eye reports on fears for the 100 or so Israeli hostages taken by Hamas militants when they invaded. And the Mail there pictures some of them and calls them the pawn of merciless terrorists. And the Express carries Rishi Sunak's pledge that such terrorism can never be allowed to carry the day. While the Telegraph leads with the news that the US is sending warships and jets to Israel's assistance.